about the VOD and the silver screen. Kevin and Tom and Joe know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 830, Pulp Fiction.
That's a very different movie.
That may be one of the best fake titles ever. That was great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
I have a feeling that might exist already. Maybe
Probably.
Pope Friction.
Pulp Fiction has the porn.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you actually use Pulp Fiction music, it will sound like porn music.
It's all the same.
Oh boy.
You'll be
Well,
a
if we
woman.
got
You'll be a
complaints
woman
about that-
soon.
We're not even talking about popes. We're talking about porn and porn parodies. That's all.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that far
Oh.
yet.
We haven't gotten.
Just wait.
If we got complaints about the one offhand joke in a random episode,
oh dear.
about this movie.
wait for 60 minutes of suck.
Just
a different-
That's actually a very different
Yes.
review
Yeah.
of a very different movie.
It's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's just literally the name of the movie.
Still applicable.
Yeah.
So I guess let's go around the table and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
And this is Tom. I probably should say for people that haven't maybe read the title of the episode, we're talking about Conclave. So
In the dredges of January.
yes.
We had to go back to something that was released last year.
Yes. But yeah, shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you were there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. Super helpful. Greatly appreciated. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/realspoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. We call the group the League of Show Sharers. So if you're looking for it and you can't find it, maybe that's why. Type that in. Real Spoilers should still pull it up.
Yeah.
But and in case it's not, Facebook gets weird with the algorithms.
It's even weirder now, brother.
Don't even let us post our own links in there.
Isn't that,
Yeah.
is that
That's
every
because they
time?
don't want YouTube on
Oh,
Facebook.
is that what it is?
I keep meaning to say what you should do is just upload the video as a Facebook
Yeah.
video file, and then it will let you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
They
Okay.
they don't like that.
Got rid of their fact checkers.
Yeah.
Man, I saw that video that he posted. That guy's weird looking. Like he's
Who?
even got Zucker.
He
Like
looks like an alien, yeah.
all the billionaires have gotten on this kick of like, I'm gonna like all the things about like Democrats are drinking baby blood and like all have gotten on this kick where they're like gonna take all these weird drugs to stay alive forever.
Yeah.
And it's just like
It's gotten
I'm like,
weirder.
You guys are weird, man.
Well, it's like I remember looking at him during like Senate hearings.
Yeah.
And he kind of had that gray alien head going on. He had
Yeah.
short hair. His teeth were not fixed.
there's something about having that much money that it breaks your brain. Like
It must.
I
It
just don't know
must.
what
Well, you operate on a totally different level. Imagine never having to worry about money
Well,
for
it's
any
that-
decision, for anything. Just imagine
One of
living
my
your life and doing anything,
Yeah.
not being hindered, or it just.
One of my favorite versions of that is when Kevin Smith talks about Prince.
Yeah,
and he's
sure.
like, Prince, it's not that he was a bad guy, but he just lived in
No
a different
concept.
world.
Give me a camel.
Right.
And
and Prince
5 in
didn't,
the morning.
Yeah.
Prince didn't have Bezos money, I'll tell you that.
No.
Like, I mean, Prince is doing fine.
Yes.
But he
even
didn't
he
have
was-
But
that
he was,
kind of money.
And he was just like, a camel in the middle of March in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And he's like, why can't you do that? And
Yeah.
his people are just like, Prince, it's March in Minnesota, and
Yeah.
you want a camel, and
Yeah.
he just cannot figure that out.
Yeah.
Apparently my daughter is FaceTiming me.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey. Hi. I have to do the podcast. Okay, love you, bye. I'll see you later. Love you, bye.
Our episodes are all about cameos lately. Last week we had a cameo from Crystal.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, a leg.
A leg.
Yeah. We got a cameo on one we did from home. Gwen was on that one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It was all about the cameos.
Yeah.
We're like the MCU.
She was just like, here's my friend. And I
But
was like, hello.
so anyway, just to recap, billionaires are clinically insane, and there's nothing we can do about it because they have enough money to buy everybody
It looks
off.
like he got his hair plugs in.
Yeah.
And it looks like he had got his veneers done, and now he's wearing like a true what are the a nice like t-shirt. So now he's no longer wearing like the weird collared shirt. He's like he's like a bro now.
He must not be able to grow a beard.
Oh, I mean, not everybody can.
I know. I'm just saying he must not be able to because there's photos that are photoshopped with him with a beard. Looks so much better, and I know he's seen them because they're all over Facebook. And everybody that sees that fake photo is like, "Oh wow, he actually looks pretty cool. Longer hair, beard, and all that."
Yeah.
So like he knows what he looks like with a beard, and he refuses to grow one.
That's why he's building the metaverse.
That's exactly.
can have a
it.
beard
You
in
can
it.
have a beard, and
It's-
it won't be patchy.
It's also he can have a beard.
But
Yeah,
the
that's
long hair
exactly
looks
why.
much better than the short hair did.
Oh
If
yeah.
he could just put a beard on, like the
Yeah,
guy would look.
I do
He
wonder
would be
if-
able to pass for human.
when Jesse Eisenberg played him, I wonder if he was like, I'm not growing my no. He's got long hair. I'm not growing my hair like that. And now he's like, I should have grown my hair like that.
Yeah, if he has watched The Social Network,
He must have.
that was not the intended takeaway.
No.
Yeah.
Like, just to be clear, on the outside chance that Zuckerberg listens to Real Spoilers,
Oh yeah.
I'm sure it's very probable.
He's the one who's actively deleting our comments.
Oh, yes, he personally goes in and does the override.
In 10 years of doing this show and millions of downloads, whatever it is, 2-3 million downloads, whatever, there has to be some like pretty famous person that's listened to the episode, like an episode. I just wonder who it is. Like
Radio silence. I feel like must have listened,
no,
you
not
know?
to take away from
I don't
them.
know.
I
they
just
do so many things. They probably don't listen.
That's
go back
probably
and listen
true.
to that. The
Well,
novelty of that.
I just mean like when I did that interview.
yeah, I'm sure they maybe had listened to an episode or went back to check one out or whatever. But like, I just wonder who the most famous person is that has stumbled upon the podcast, be it because we're talking about their movie or I don't know for PR, someone passed it to whatever. I don't know. I just wonder.
It's a good question.
Tim Kazurinsky.
Mel Gibson.
That's no.
It's like, are they going to talk? Are they going to talk about my movie? No, Mel, we're not.
Oh man, what that bald cap looked terrible in the trailer I saw for that. What the
I can't tell if
hell?
it was a bald cap or he actually shaved his
Oh, it's a
head.
bald
Because I
cap.
could
No,
have swore
no,
I
no,
saw
no.
stubble in one scene.
No,
I
that's a
like
bald
he,
cap,
I
my
feel like he
friend.
protects that hair.
Yeah.
Like it's the
Like, come on, Mark Wahlberg. That's credit. I would give him more credit if he did shave his. Like, come on, it's for a movie, but like, no, that's a terrible
Yeah.
bald cap.
garbage.
I didn't hate it.
I know. I hear you.
I mean, it's not high art. I'm not, but like, I was like, it was 90 minutes, which is perfect. And I was like, I was reasonably entertained.
21% on Rotten
Yeah,
Tomatoes.
because I do-
63% audience, which is pretty bad.
I think people went in with their knives out because it's
Sure.
Mel Gibson, which I don't even blame them for.
I can't
No.
believe Mel Gibson. I mean, I guess I can believe that's what he's doing now,
Yeah.
but
What else is
what
he
a
gonna
step
do?
down. Like Mel Gibson at one point directing
Yeah.
Braveheart.
yeah,
you know,
but then
it just,
he
I
went on
know,
a
but
tirade about Jewish
It wasn't
people.
that long ago that he made, 2016? He made Hacksaw Ridge.
oh, that's
was
true.
that him?
But that seems more in line. It's just weird
Yeah.
that this
I
flight
forgot. I
risk.
forgot that was him.
Yeah, that was
okay.
good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. So anyway, League of Show Sharers, people who were kind enough to share an episode this week: Richard Krotzer, Julianne Jordan, Gabriel Lugo, Chris Falls, Ralph Tribble, Michael Tonkovic, Tom Dowdy, Phil Timon, Travis Tewitt, Brandon McGuckin, Librarian Cynthia, Chris Magic Man, Glenn Cougar, Melon Brewer, Aaron Kyleman, Heather Sachs, brace yourself, Ramala Resio. I hope I am saying that right.
If not,
If
send
not,
a-
message
send-
us and I'll try to get
yeah,
it right.
get it
But-
phonetically.
If not,
Romulo
give us a
Resio.
positive review on iTunes and tell us in there.
And if you hate Romola, leave us a positive review, and I'll continue to pronounce it wrong.
Yeah.
That's
We'll figure it out.
we can be bought.
Yeah,
yeah,
very easily.
The Kryptonian Orphan, Cinema Recall, Edit Photo Gamer, James Install, Ken Holtzhauser, Ryan Terry, Ronnie Castle, In Session Film, Geek to Me Radio, Nostalgia Cast, Mike, and Oscar. So thank you very much. Also, don't forget we have a Patreon. If you would like to support the show, we would like you to. It's only $5 a month. You get all sorts of bonus content, and we like you extra. Are we ever doing any more SNL movies?
No, we are.
Okay.
Scheduling
I'm
has
like,
been wonky.
I'll chime in if it fits my schedule. I'll do another one.
Okay.
I love the SNL.
Get it on the books.
I gotta tell
get
you,
them out there.
They've got a special coming up next Saturday.
I think pretty soon, like the 50th anniversary. Yeah.
Have you watched any of those? The thing on Peacock with like
Mm-mm.
old cast members watching their auditions.
No, I have not.
Holy,
It sounds good though.
Bobby Moynihan
yeah.
is the best because he was just like, Bobby, what are you doing?
Hey, whatever he did, it worked.
It did.
It
He got
is
on the
funny
show.
to see
He was
what
there for a while.
Well,
Some-
and those auditions are notorious that like they're people now when they go in, they're like, no one is going to laugh. Like that is like they like brace yourself for the fact that there will be no laughter.
You could hear a pin drop in those
Yeah.
rooms.
That
They're
was-
like
that's
if you get
tough.
a laugh,
You're
you're
good.
You're
like
in,
almost
guaranteed.
obviously going to be
Yeah.
on the show because it's and because I think the Will Ferrell audition got like 3 laughs and people were like, "Holy crap,
Sign them up.
that is unheard of."
They
Like,
have other people that you didn't know auditioned. So there's
so many famous people. have
Jennifer
auditioned.
Coolidge,
Yeah.
Kevin Hart, Jordan Peele, Donald Glover.
Yeah, he auditioned and then
Did he
and
become a writer?
so he auditioned and didn't make it, and then Tina Fey picked him to be a writer on 30 Rock.
Oh,
And so this
okay,
is the story that
okay.
was going on a while back that he was a quote unquote DEI hire, and she was like, I hired him because he was really good. I classified him as a DEI because NBC at the time had a thing going on to encourage shows to hire, non-white guys.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
That if you hired somebody that fell under certain types, then it didn't go against your show's budget. So she could hire him and pay him, and because he was classified that way, it didn't get factored into the show's budget. So it was
Interesting.
basically like getting a free writer.
Not only are you getting a free writer,
But you're getting Donald
Glover.
right?
Right.
And it's also helping fit. I don't know if quota sounds bad, but like you're filling that purpose
Allowing
of that
different
program.
voices to be
Correct.
heard, and
Smart.
and so he was in the writer's room for a little bit, and then Tina Fey went to him and was like, "You need to go."
Oh,
She's like,
that's interesting.
"You're too good to be here."
Yeah.
And she's like, "You need to be in front of the camera, and you need to be doing things where you can control your own." She's
And-
like, this is not like this is beneath you.
I always appreciate when someone of like Tina Fey's caliber recognizes talent.
Yeah.
And says, "You got to go, man."
And that's where he took the community
and
role.
he was absolutely
And then
right.
and
Now look at him.
yeah,
It's a megastar.
absolutely.
But it's very funny to watch those. Watch them watch back their.
Yeah, I bet. I'll have to
auditions.
check this
Yeah.
out.
Sometimes I watch them and I'm like, how? Like they don't seem
That's
like
a
they seem
great
way funnier on
question.
SNL than they do in that audition. I'm just like, that got them on. Okay.
Yeah,
I think a lot of what they're looking for is how many different characters can you do?
I think
True,
Hader said
true.
that he did Alan Alda.
And not necessarily impersonations, although if you can do impersonations, they're always looking for that.
Yeah.
But they want to see like how many different things can you
Yeah. How versatile are you?
Right.
Sure.
You
That
know.
makes sense.
Yeah.
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 It's-
They're
I
just
always
clearly.
I know Adam Sandler obviously has had a huge career and
Who?
he was a very beloved SNL cast member, but I always thought he was honestly one of the weaker ones in that
in that cast, though, you're not wrong.
he didn't have much range.
No,
he
they
can
were
just
all the same
kind of do that
very
squeaky
funny
voice
thing.
thing.
You did
And it-
Aquaman and-
Yeah, and like sometimes it was really funny.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was just like, but this is just the same thing over and over
Yeah.
again. But
Yeah.
But much like Jim Carrey, like how he's hilarious, but sometimes he's doing the same. His shtick is similar. It's not that versatile, but it's
Yeah.
very funny.
It is
you know?
very funny.
And Adam Sandler's the same way, where it's
Bella,
like he's
it's
just
funny. Bella asked about Ace Ventura,
Yeah.
and I was like, "We could watch it, but you need to understand
It
this
was a different time.
It was 1994, and the end of that movie.
I mean, it's
is
fine up until the
end of the movie.
Yeah.
That's the. No, yeah, I guess. I mean, there's other jokes throughout the movie, but you don't know their jokes
but nothing that,
until
yeah.
the end of the movie.
Yeah.
yeah. So
It's a shame because the movie's so good that Ace Ventura is it's like an indie film. You know what I mean? Like it
Oh,
has a
yeah.
very almost art housey type budget.
He was
and
not a
it's-
proven commodity yet.
right, and it's very funny.
That's the first movie I remember coming out in January
Mhm.
and making a ton of money.
Oh yeah.
They like dumped it in January, and then he was very popular. But like, I don't think their research showed it. He was
Oh.
very popular because of
Mad TV.
Living Color.
Living Color,
and Living
sorry,
Color.
yeah.
But that I think the metrics didn't necessarily show up. I
Mhm.
also think because of In Living Color, he was also very popular with the black community.
Oh,
and so
sure.
like people
Was he
like
the only white cast member on that show at that
I
time?
believe
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
Yeah,
so.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. And so a lot of people showed up for that movie that I think at the time their research wasn't showing them.
Oh,
would show
sure,
up.
sure, sure.
So, but anyway, shameless plugs. Well, yeah, Patreon, and then watch these all on YouTube. There we go. So we will now dig into Conclave. I want to say, before we start this
Are you
conversation,
going to toot your own horn right now?
no.
Oh,
If you have not seen Conclave,
100% agree with you.
remember the name of the show. And
Yeah.
if you have not seen Conclave, I would implore you to stop listening right now and go watch Conclave, because it's really good.
It's insanely good.
And it is not a movie that you want spoiled for yourself. And I know it doesn't look like the kind of movie that you would care about. It looks like it would be a very boring, eat your vegetables like thing, and it is riveting from beginning to end.
I could not believe.
Yeah, so like this is us imploring you.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, stop. If you have Peacock, it's on there for you for free.
Yes.
Other than that, it's on all the other streaming platforms if you want to pay. I know for a while it was on sale for like $10. I don't know
Worth
if it
every
still
penny.
is, but it's really good.
And I like that, and they do this with a lot of stuff, but with Peacock, I have the Peacock with ads in it.
Okay.
And they only give you like a minute and a half in the beginning, and then the whole movie's ad free.
Oh,
So it's
nice.
not like, even if you have the $5 a month thing or whatever, you're not watching a commercial every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, I'll look at my phone for 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And
I got
then-
excited because I thought I could get rid of Peacock because WWE has moved to Netflix. Well, Peacock is keeping all of the back stuff. So I was like, you sons of...
they have the archives.
So Netflix gets Raw,
Yeah.
like the live sporting event on a Monday night.
Peacock
But
has the
Peacock
catalog.
is keeping the catalog. And I was like,
Jeez.
you sons of bitches.
You can get deals though, where again, I have Peacock for like $60 a year.
Yeah,
It's pretty
I-
cheap,
I
and then the
think it's-
commercials are minimal.
It's nothing. I mean, it's minimal.
because it's not very popular. Advertisers don't want to spend money on it,
Right.
So you don't get very long commercial
It's-
breaks.
And
which
you
is
know what
great.
they do is they do, and I think maybe Amazon started doing this, but when you pause it, there's just an ad
A
on the screen,
screensaver.
which is fine. 'Cause it's like,
Oh.
I don't need to look at a still of the movie pause. Like,
Yeah,
if they want
like,
to show me an
whatever.
ad, I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh,
If that
okay.
subsidizes a cheaper, it's not $25 a month like Netflix.
Yeah.
$25 a month.
Which is...
it used to be $9
I
a
know,
month
I
with
know.
DVDs. Now
Remember
it's 20.
when we were just like, 14, this is
I
ridiculous.
know. It's getting to the point where I'm just like, I guess I'll just subscribe to stuff when I want to watch something.
That's kind of where I
I
am
know
now.
Crystal and I were just having that conversation of like, is it worth 20? Like, 'cause I don't feel like we watch all that much on Netflix anymore.
We
No,
hardly watch
I'll
stuff.
true crime doc every once in a while.
Yeah, we watch a lot of Hulu. Hulu's got a lot
We
of
Hulu's
watch
got-
Hulu and Max has a lot of
Max.
good
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
and
Disney in our house.
and
a lot.
like since Max pulled in all the Discovery stuff, like we watch a lot of that.
Oh.
We watch a lot of that.
They've
The-
got Chopped on Max, and I watched the out of Chopped.
Do you?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like it's a show I can turn on
Yeah.
and not have to pay attention to, but like kind of zone out to it.
I read on the internet the other day that I know we haven't talked about Conclave yet,
We'll get
which
there.
normally
I
means
mean,
it's a bad movie, but that's
it's not
true.
Yeah.
But that Paramount Plus now has Jersey Shore,
Oh.
but unedited.
Oh.
All right. Yeah.
That's a little bit different.
That's
I signed
I'm
up.
assuming unedited for language. I'm sure they're still blurring out.
Yeah.
You don't
I
see her
signed.
Snookies?
I
Yeah.
mean, has she shown her Snookies?
I don't know. I've never seen the show. I just
I don't remember. if
The
she
other
ever-
one definitely did. JWoww absolutely
Well,
did.
and there was. I know there
showed her
was the
JWoww.
There was the
Yeah.
one episode where
She's-
Dina came in drunk and was trying to take off her clothes, and she had a bathing suit underneath it, but she was so drunk she just pulled everything off, not realizing, and was so drunk she's standing there like talking to the situation.
Yeah.
and he's just like, "What are we doing?"
Eyes up, eyes up.
Yeah, and
I
she
think we
and,
got a new podcast here, gentlemen.
and then she was finally realized that she was
Naked.
yeah. It was,
I have to say, I think we just saw Tom come alive on camera. I found his new passion for.
I like Jersey Shore.
I watched the.
I know. If we can only get you to talk about movies with this much
Well, I
excitement.
had a show that was that movie that was that interesting.
That's right.
Well,
Like
I
this
will
one.
if we ever end up
We'll
talking
get to
about
this one.
Conclave.
So okay, we were figuring out what we were gonna do, right? Because I said we're in the dregs of January, with the exception of the Wolfman, which was incredible.
I don't know about that.
For me, it was.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but like it's
Kevin, we don't want to get Kevin started. 'Cause
Don't,
he'll-
yeah.
But this is a dead month. This is always a dead month. We talk about Ace Ventura, but it's very rare that you get something in January.
And when
that
you
is-
do, it's like Ace Ventura or Paul Blart,
Paul
Mall
Blart.
Cop,
Right,
was
right.
a January release.
and
For a while, we had that string of January releases.
Well, they figured it out.
Flight Risk was trying to do because you had like American Sniper.
Yeah.
You had the Lone Survivor.
Lone Survivor.
There was like three
like
or
the
4 years in a
military
row
movie
where you
month.
had these very militaristic dad movies coming out in January.
Absolutely. So trying to figure out what we were going to do, Tom has mentioned Conclave more than once, and it's
one of his favorite movies of the year. Right?
Yeah.
It's my
And
second favorite
yeah.
movie of the year.
It's if I would have seen this in 2024, it absolutely would have been on my list.
Yeah. Here's the thing. On paper, a movie about a bunch of cardinals electing a new pope does
Snooze City.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
because they're like, what possibly? I mean, first of all, obviously we don't know a lot of what goes on in there, but just thinking about a bunch of people in a meeting,
Right.
voting for
Right.
a pope, like what the hell? But this movie does something really interesting. The screenplay is written like a thriller.
That's what
Yeah.
I said.
Almost like a detective
Yes,
mystery.
it's
Yeah.
like a political thriller. It's
Yeah.
a murder mystery. It's a
not
religious.
A murder mystery.
No. But
Well,
like,
like
you
a
feel
whodun-
like
like a
detective,
whodunit.
yeah, the detective element. But they sprinkle. What they do is every 15 to 20 minutes they sprinkle in another like twist, another,
Yeah.
and so
Reveal.
another reveal. It's
Yeah.
very smart the way that this movie keeps you interested, and it's filmed and scored in a way
Yeah.
that it's really interesting.
And you've got
and
you've got actors who I think not that they're underrated, but I do think sometimes you forget how good these people are. John Lithgow, Stanley Tucci, Ralph Fiennes. I feel bad because I don't recognize the other archbishop, the black guy.
Oh, gotcha.
his name is Lucian Mamadi.
But I feel like we've seen him in something
I
else.
don't know what.
And then the guy who I thought was Roberto Benigni, but it is not. I was like, initially when I saw him for the first time, and I was like, is that what? Okay, like, good. I'm glad he's getting work. And then as the movie goes forward, you're like, oh, it's not him.
I don't recognize the other guy. but
Okay, I thought
he's
I
good, but I don't recognize. He was in The Good Liar. Maybe you watched that show.
maybe I don't know. But you've got these different people.
You remember him from the 1997 show The Knock. He was in one episode as an
Absolutely
uncredited
remember
doctor.
that.
That
Yes.
is what you were
You're
thinking.
100% right. That's what
Okay.
it was. He was
We're all
so
still
good.
abuzz about uncredited doctor.
Yeah.
So yes, it's all of these different genres of movie meshed together that shouldn't work, but it sings. Like it's
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe.
Because this is not your type of movie typically.
So I was thinking about that, and I remember I think I do like religious themed movies, right? Like I
Yeah.
think Nope was really good. I remember really getting into Nope. Was it not Nope?
I was like,
what was the one with
Doubt?
I
okay.
also
have such
love
doubt.
I also love
Doubt
Nope.
is great until the last,
I know.
literally the last line
It
of the
is.
film.
I wanted them to end this movie with, well, this is the conclave
Yeah.
after all.
Welcome
it is a-
to the conclave.
It's a perfect movie until the last second of
The
dialogue.
rat stands for obviousness.
And I think I liked Spotlight, which is kind of has a religious tinge
I mean, it
to
deals
it.
with the
the Catholic Church in Boston.
So this film, talking about the writing, because the writing is what makes this film.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's good actors. It's a really good ensemble cast, really good performances. But what makes this movie interesting is the writing. You have to figure out how to make this conclave and
Yeah.
voting for the Pope interesting, right? And so the writers are Peter Strawn and Robert Harris. And Robert Harris wrote the book,
wrote the
so
book.
he gets the
Yeah.
right. It's adapted from his novel. But the writer Peter Strawn, he wrote Frank. Have you ever seen that with
No.
Michael Fassbender?
No.
Oh man,
Is that the one where the cover is like a real big weird paper mache head?
Well, it's he's like a mascot. So the entire movie. I'm trying to remember. Like, I don't want to spoil anything. It's a really good movie. You should see
Okay.
it. But Michael Fassbender is in like this Frank mascot head the entire time. Does not say a word of dialogue.
Do you
in the
know that
entire
it's
movie.
Fassbender?
Well, you eventually do.
Okay.
But the whole thing is like, is it really they had him play this character that doesn't talk, but body language? I don't know. It's just a really cool indie art house type movie, really good. So he wrote that, and so I'm like, okay, so that was a great movie. And then I'm like, oh, The Snowman. Okay, well,
Oh boy.
but
That's
he wrote
Harry Hole.
but he wrote Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy with
Okay.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
So
I do love me some
mean,
Gary
And,
Oldman.
and Snowman was butchered.
Oh, it was
wasn't that the
right.
one where they like ran out of money or something, and they
Yeah.
they had to edit it all weird.
There was
It
a
was
weird.
like-
It's
it
a
was
very
like the-
popular novel.
It's like the
Yeah.
third book in a series.
Yeah. So
They-
anyway,
I think they tried to capitalize on the girl with the dragon tattoo,
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
and it just fell apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I mean, credit to him for taking. I mean, obviously the book it's adapted from a novel, so Robert Harris has to get credit for
Sure.
creating the story. But keeping this at a good pace and interesting enough, and it moves, and
It does.
I would not have expected it to be this engaging. I mean, you can watch a good movie that's kind of a snooze, but good performances and kind of like eat your vegetables, whatever. And
The Two Popes came out a
Oh.
few years back.
Yeah.
Which is part of why I
the
was
Jude Law one.
No.
That's
he's the
that's
young Pope?
the young
The young
Pope.
Pope.
The
and
two.
isn't there a good pope too, or the old?
I
there's-
mean, as many as they've had, one of them
Yeah.
would have had to have been good.
Eventually,
But
they'll
there were
get
a
it.
bunch of Pope shows. There was like
Yeah.
young Pope, old Pope, blue Pope, red Pope. Like it was just like everything had to be a Pope movie or
Yeah,
show.
right.
But the Two Popes was about the last Pope that stepped down, and then I think Pope Francis that came in and like a conversation
What a
between those. And but that was like, I mean, it's one of those movies where like, I know technically this is good, but it's also very dry.
Very dry.
And that's what I thought we were in for here.
Yeah.
So the sitting Pope,
Yes.
and we should say this is entirely fiction. None of these people are real. Best I can tell, none of them are supposed to have an analogous real person in
I don't
like
think so.
real
I mean,
life that they're kind of like wink wink.
I guess
Oh,
I
the
feel
Pope
like
isn't real.
Yeah.
That was all.
Oh,
just,
Jesus.
But
literally.
Oh,
but all I can think of is like when Primary Colors came out, it was
Yeah.
like, this isn't Bill Clinton. Wink.
Okay.
Like, this isn't doing this. This is just all just completely made up people.
I forgot about that movie.
Yeah. Because it wasn't very
Altogether.
good.
Yeah, right.
That book was so huge for a minute.
Oh, really?
Well, because it was supposed to be written by a guy, came out anonymous,
Mm.
and it was written by a guy who worked within the Clinton administration that's supposedly seen behind the
It
scenes, and
saw
then wrote this fictionalized, quote-unquote,
Uh-huh.
Was that-
novel.
Who was that? Who played Bill Clinton? John Travolta?
Travolta.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Stanley Tucci character probably is the closest to Pope Francis, the current sitting Pope, where he does have a more liberal view on things.
he's definitely filling that.
Yeah.
So in this movie, you see a bunch of different cardinals that are like representing different types of. Modern, traditional, right.
You've got
conservative.
the whole gamut of you've got Stanley Tucci and Ralph Fiennes are kind of more liberal. Stanley Tucci definitely more liberal.
Right.
Then you've got John Lithgow, who's kind of the politically savvy
Yeah.
guy who you don't really
You
know
don't know
where
his
he stands on
politics, yeah.
anything.
Yeah, like his beliefs, outside of the fact that he's Catholic,
Right.
But he doesn't seem to be. You really don't.
He's
get
not gonna
beat up
rock the
if he's
boat.
left or right. He just wants to be Pope.
Yes,
He's
exactly.
Canadian, so he's really nice. That's how he gets so many
That's how,
votes.
that's how you know.
Yeah.
And then you've got the. I guess they don't really say what the other. You've got the whack job conservative guy who's like,
Right. He's the Italian traditional.
yeah, he wants to bring back the Latin Mass,
Right.
But it's
Tedesco.
It's in Tedesco.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's interesting because his one
Which
of
is
the
what
things
Costco is called in Italy.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ted
Tedesco.
Tedesco. His
Costco
kind of
keeping their DEI practices.
are they
Yep.
good for them?
Where everyone else is
Like,
thrown
"No,
to the
get rid of
curbside,
it."
Costco is very much keeping all that. So
Oh, maybe I'll get a membership to
Yeah.
Costco.
I'm sure Sam's owned by Walmart is not. So
You think Sam's had it
if
before?
you gotta, I'm just saying, if you got to pick one or the other, I'm pretty sure. But who has the better rotisserie chicken? That's really what it comes down
Schnucks.
to, right? No, out of the the
Oh.
$5 rotisserie chicken.
Crystal really likes the Sam's rotisserie chicken.
Sam's one?
We have both.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to
Just
be upset
across
with
the
us,
board.
we have Sam's and a Costco
They
membership.
cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it's neutral.
But they don't really tell you where the one cardinal lands. Like he's definitely
Who's
the one.
which
We're
one?
going to have to narrow
Yeah,
it down
there's-
since,
Well,
since
the-
literally
St. Louis
everyone in the movie is a
Is a
cardinal.
Literally.
Oh yeah, I guess that's
Everyone
true.
in this conclave,
yeah.
other than the Isabella Rossellini.
Yeah, except for the nuns.
the nun,
Literally every other person in this
the
movie.
guy we
Because they
just,
can't
the guy we
be
just
yet.
talked about.
they
Yeah.
can't be
The guy we just talked about.
Tedesco?
No, the other one.
Adeyemi?
Yes,
Okay.
Adiemi. They don't really say where he's at. I mean, he's definitely he's feels like he's the more.
He would be the first black pope, right?
Yes.
He's very conservative. They say where he's at. He's very conservative.
Oh, I guess that's true.
But I feel like his conservatism takes on the yoke of I think he's like liberal when it comes to like racial and social justice stuff, but
More conservative when it comes to like
hates
women.
the gays.
Okay.
So the Tucci is very much liberal and wants
What
the
what we think
I
of
love
as
it.
American liberalism.
Yes.
Yes, and Ralph Fiennes seems to be on that same wavelength with him because they have this friendship. They're definitely friends.
Yeah, they're tight.
And he says,
and
like-
they want to put somebody into the papal
Papacy.
office.
They're worried that Tedesco is going to bring them right back
Yeah,
to
he's
where
going
they
to bring
were.
back the old
But it was
traditional-
interesting because this is an argument that I've.
He's
you
not
know,
even going to say the mass in Latin. He's going to say it in Aramaic. That's how conservative he is. I should say I went to Catholic school.
I was going to say I grew up in the Catholic Church my entire life.
Yeah, these two.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to talk about if there's one movie where it's like, I don't know, you should get some people that kind of know what they're talking about. 2 out of 3 very much know
when I
this
was a
stuff.
kid, like mass was in Latin, and it was one of those things where
Well, that would have been because your parents opted to go to a church that said a Latin mass.
it
because-
didn't last long.
Yeah, because the Latin mass was gotten rid of with Vatican II.
Yeah.
And so that would have been
the
in the
sequel.
60s.
Yeah, the sequel.
And so
Vatican harder.
yeah. Well, sadly, there's some truth there.
There is,
But,
unfortunately.
but Vatican II is like,
Yeah.
perhaps its greatest crime against mankind was the introduction of the acoustic guitar to the Catholic Mass. Like,
That's very funny.
like if you ever
They're
had
all
to,
over the
if
place.
you ever had to sit through somebody
Oh boy.
singing "Dust in the Wind" on Ash Wednesday, you blame Vatican.
blame
II.
Vatican
That
II.
is
It-
a direct result of Vatican II.
Singing every verse of every song.
Yeah.
Whatever. But him bringing up the fact that he feels like there's a scene where Ralph Fiennes is talking to Tedesco, and Tedesco makes this point of saying, "Look, we're all separated. Like the Spanish speaking folks are over there.
Yeah.
I do like
It's like a high school cafeteria.
Yeah, exactly. He's like the
But they
Italians
all
are
speak
here.
different languages, so like.
Well,
of
what
course
he's
you're gonna
saying,
sit with the people
is we should bring back Latin so we all speak
we
the
all
same.
speak the same.
And I was like, that's not. It's not a terrible idea, especially in that setting.
Well, especially
But
if they
then-
already speak Latin. That's
Right,
a pretty
yeah,
good
that's
easy
real easy.
sell.
Yeah.
But then when he's just like, oh yeah, and the Hamas, or they're being attacked by Al Qaeda. They reference Al Qaeda by name,
I don't think so. There's protests going on outside.
and there have been bombings.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Fuck them, like we're letting them come to our gates," and
And
he
the thing
goes on
is,
this racist
it-
tirade.
Because like there are a lot of people who are very mad at this movie, but
Yeah,
but like they never tell you what the protests are outside.
they don't.
Right? Like in my head, it was I thought it was more like
Acoustic guitars.
like liberal activists that
Oh.
were like you need to move the because that's normally who stages protests.
true.
Right?
It's true.
And so when I hear protests, my personal bias leads me to think that it's liberal people out there protesting.
I think that's fair. It's a fair, yeah. And so you've got all of these different viewpoints, and we know that the sitting pope has passed away. So we know, and I feel like they move this pretty quick.
Yeah.
Where they're like, we gotta get, and I think Ralph
they
Fiennes
do
is
Okay.
right
in real life. Like
we have to move fast.
Yeah.
They don't want to be without a pope.
And I do like
yeah.
that Ralph Fiennes has his own. I was gonna call him like Holmes or Watson.
Yeah.
Who's like this guy who's kind of like feeding
Oh.
him information.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, we have another cardinal we didn't even know about." So this other cardinal just shows up, and I do like this where as you're watching it, you're like,
Yanis Wozniak, the prefect of the papal household, claims the late pope demanded Tremblay's resignation on the night he died.
you've got this
Yeah.
thing.
That's like one of the first things. This is where I woke up a little bit, where
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, because
Yeah.
I'm watching and I'm like,
Tre-
okay.
and Tremblay is John Lithgow.
Right.
But I'm like, what is, okay, this is, where's this movie going? I had no idea what to
Right.
expect. And that happened. And I'm like, oh. So
now
there's a whole
why?
thing going on that doesn't even matter about the whole
Now we
religious
have-
stuff. It's like, we have a,
We have intrigue.
yeah.
Well, I think that's the cool part is you have these 5 guys who are gunning, no pun intended, for the Pope, but they're all like kind of backstabbing each other,
Yeah.
trying to like garner votes and
And the thing is, and this is true, that when the conclave is meeting to elect a new pope, the last thing they want to do is elect a guy who wants to be pope.
Correct.
Right? Like that. I mean, that's very common knowledge.
And
I
they
thought
say that.
I thought that was one of the most interesting parts of the movie as well, other than when you start getting this intrigue going on. But Ralph Fiennes doesn't want it, and people are voting for him.
Right.
And they
Yeah.
they
And
literally
Ray,
say
I
that.
like
and
that
I'm
Ralph Fiennes is like, he goes to the Tucci and he's just like, hey man, I screwed that up. Like I'm really my votes should have gone to you.
Yeah.
Like I kind of pulled
But
votes
because
away from
they
you.
don't want to elect someone who's power hungry.
Yes.
And like there's a saying that goes, so like if you're a front runner, you're almost guaranteed to not win. There's a famous saying in the world of conclaves: enter the conclave a pope, exit the conclave a cardinal. And so it's like if they think you want it, then you ain't the guy.
Yeah. Right.
Because someone at the head of the church shouldn't be looking for power. They should be looking out for those who are lesser.
Correct.
Which we all know is a direct insult against Donald Trump.
But I thought that was a really intriguing bit, and then of course now they're splitting the vote and taking them,
Yeah.
But I thought that it was going to end up that Ralph Fiennes' character would keep getting more and more votes.
Well, he
the
does.
less but like to the point where it's like I thought he might be the guy.
I
when
thought that
all
at
these
some-
guys want
Yeah.
it, and I'm like, that's a fascinating idea.
When
'Cause
they
I
get-
didn't know about that before.
When
so
they
I was like,
when they
this
get to
is-
the end and the
you
votes
don't
have been
know
cast,
who-
and you're
yeah.
just like, who are they talking?
But just when he starts clapping, I'm like, well, he's not clapping for himself.
Right,
But I thought until he started clapping, I'm like, oh, maybe he got it.
maybe.
And I like the thing where it's like, well, yeah, you don't want it, and you don't have any, like, you're gonna do what's best for the people, for you know, for your office here. You're not gonna. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. But yeah, all this stuff starts popping up, and so you're like, what's going on with Lithgow's character? Like, is this true? Is someone else planting this? You start wondering where is the truth in all this.
So
He denies it. Lithgow, Tremblay says, "No, what are you talking
he's
about?"
like, he was really sick. Like we had an argument, but like he was really sick, and it's fine. Like whatever you're saying isn't true.
And then and then Fiennes is like, okay, well, I just had to make sure, like,
Right.
you're, for sure.
And he doesn't. And what I like about Cardinal Lawrence, Ralph Fiennes' character, is he's not trying to rock the boat. He's just it's interesting because he doesn't want.
He's like Poirot. He's just trying to get to the truth.
Well, he also knows that like we can't put someone in power that maybe has something in their past, like because they make a comment about the sex scandals and being a Nazi, like being a former Nazi, like they reference all of that stuff, and he's just like, we cannot go back to that. So people kind of have to have this clean slate almost before they put them in power.
Right. The Catholic Church does not need another PR nightmare, is what they're saying, essentially.
That's exactly right. So Lawrence's little buddy says, hey, there's a new cardinal here. We didn't know he existed until literally he showed up. And we find out that the former sitting pope had made this guy a cardinal, but he's
in secret.
But in secret. And they kind of say he's from Kabul, Afghanistan. So he's like, Catholicism there is, you're dead. Like
This is a very real thing.
Absolutely it is.
I think it's called in pectore, and you can be appointed a cardinal in secret, and it's typically used for people who are leading the Catholic Church in areas with high rates of persecution against Christians and or Catholics. And so Afghanistan would fall under that.
Yeah.
And now, where the movie takes some liberties in the book too, presumably, is that if the Pope had not made that public before he died,
right,
like you can't just show up with a note and be like,
signed Epstein's mother. I
Right.
guess maybe not Epstein. That's a bad example, but
well, no, it's not a bad example because the whole point of the Juan Epstein character was he was both, right? He was, which is fitting, actually.
But didn't mean to do that.
Yeah. But so like you couldn't just show up with a note and said, "Hey, the last guy said I'm a cardinal, so
we're cool, right?
Yeah,
we're
let
cool.
me in."
We're cool.
But this is where we're at.
Is where we're at.
Yeah,
and I do like that Lawrence accepts him immediately. Doesn't like he kind of asks him a couple questions, and the guy is very soft spoken.
The Catholic Church is very hierarchy.
Oh, big time,
right? And
yes.
so it's very much. I mean, it's like the military in a lot of ways in that there's a obvious head of the church, and then the the organizational chart branches out from there, and you listen to the person who's ahead of you.
That's right.
And the Pope said, you're a cardinal, and this guy's like, Pope says it, you're a cardinal.
Good to go.
And
I mean,
Lawrence, we didn't mention, but he's like the dean of the conclave or dean of the
Dean of the College of Cardinals.
There
Yes.
you go. So that's
he's
his,
like in charge of the Cardinals.
He's kind of running the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah. And he keeps saying that he's going to do this and he's out. Like he's going to dip not because his faith in God is lacking, but his faith in the church
Yeah.
as a structure is lacking. So he's like, I'm going to get
So
out of
he
here.
holds the rank of cardinal bishop.
Yes. Yeah. And
So
so
he's not
like
just a
there's
regular cardinal.
so yeah, there's bishops, there's archbishops, there's cardinals.
He
like
can move
it's
diagonally.
he's actually one of the more powerful players on the board.
Hmm.
I'm
But
just
so
saying.
so now you have a stranger showing up who claims to have been secretly made a cardinal.
Yeah.
So there's your next thing where you're like, what?
Like, who is
Yeah.
this guy?
More
Like, who-
intrigue?
Well, who is this
I love it. And
person?
so there's another little sprinkle. So then, I guess should we jump to then the
So the first crack we see is we get like the not overtly, the racist rant where Tedesco was like, we have to vote, you have to vote for me, and then he points at Adiami and he's just like, we're gonna vote for that guy? And you can see the look on Ralph Fiennes' face where he's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
And he just kind of, he's like, I gotta go talk to other people. and that's your first idea, like, oh, this guy's a piece of crap. Like,
Yeah.
he's a scumbag. So I think the vote comes in and the Tucci is behind, like significantly behind. And there is this moment where they're just kind of like we did not expect you to be that far behind. Kind of sounds familiar to a few months ago. Where we were like, what do you mean? So the first like dent in the armor is they're at lunch. We see this African nun preparing food. She walks over to a table and there is a commotion between Adiame and this nun. And the nun kind of takes off. I forget that Isabella Rossellini is in this movie, and I was like, oh yeah, another insanely talented actress in this.
She got nominated for best
she did?
supporting actress.
She's got the same amount of screen time that I was thinking.
Marlon Brando and
But Hannibal Lecter, Anthony
true.
Hopkins is
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
movie for 10 minutes, maybe.
Ned Beatty did he win? Got nominated for I can't remember if he won, but he got nominated for Network.
Mm-hmm.
He's in one scene.
Yeah.
But god damn is it
you know
a
what?
scene.
You said Ned Beatty. My head went Warren Beatty, and I was like, Warren Beatty's not in Network. What are you talking about?
He's Dick Tracy.
Yeah, actually, have
goodness
you ever
sake.
seen the Parallax View?
No.
Cannot recommend that
Really?
enough. If like political thrillers, so good.
But have you ever seen Tracy Talks Back, the 2022 web special co-starring Leonard Maltin?
Have not.
So they could keep the rights. Did you hear about that?
No, what?
Oh yeah.
So Warren Beatty bought the rights to Dick Tracy
Tracy.
like in perpetuity,
Oh,
but you have
But
to
he
make.
has to make a new property like once every like
I do
10
remember
years.
that.
So it's wild that
And
he
it-
just keeps making these little TV specials.
And last one was called
character.
Dick Tracy Zooms In, and it was like him. It was like Warren Beatty and Dick Tracy, yes, they're the same guy, and Leonard Maltin on
Okay.
a Zoom call.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But he has to play the character, so it can't be
Yeah.
like an interview about the making of Dick
Right.
Tracy. It has to be
Like a
a
Dick
thing
Tracy.
starring Dick
He is
Tracy.
in
so he's playing character.
Yeah, and then it airs on like AMC at like 2:00 in the morning.
counts.
I mean,
Yeah.
hats off to him for figuring it out, but it was just so weird and random.
How much
and
did that
seemingly-
movie make?
I
Because
mean, I
they
think
made
it
made
did-
that look like Batman.
I think it did okay, but it did
Not
not do
enough
what
to
they
get a
thought.
sequel.
Yeah, and so like the
It
most
made $103 million worldwide
in 89.
what they spend to
in
make it.
90.
Okay,
I don't have 47.
that's the massive hit.
I mean, but it's a
In
huge. I mean, it's a huge
1990?
budget
but
for.
they spent a ton on marketing.
Oh.
That
I
thing was
mean,
everywhere.
yeah, but still, but I mean, it wasn't a huge flop. It just
Right.
didn't.
they wanted that to be their Batman.
Yeah.
for sure, they
So
did.
bad.
Yeah,
So this nun kind of takes off, and Lawrence not chases after, but says, "I need to talk to her. Like this guy's about to be the sitting pope, and there has been this incident. I need to figure out what's going on." And then the nun, to her credit, Isabella Rossellini is just like, "Hey, fuck fuck you, buddy. Like, she does not.
A lot of cursing in this movie. I didn't expect
Yeah, there's
all
a
these
lot of it.
F-bombs
Well,
that Joe's directly quoting.
They're real people, Kevin. Like, they're just because they have the,
There's a lot of smoking.
lots of smoking, which also is absolutely true.
For sure.
Every priest that I was ever involved with the church always smoked.
Yeah.
Always. But she's like, she's better to talk to me. Like, just talk to me. And he was like, no, get out of the way. And finally she leaves the room, and this nun will not disclose what happened. And he opens the door with a confession. And he's like, look, and he doesn't do it in a mean way. He's just like, look, I'm just trying to get information. And once he offers her a confession, everything comes out. And so he goes to the other cardinal, and he was just like, okay, like, tell me what happened. And he's like, I don't know, man. Like, it was weird. It was just this weird incident. And he was like, tell me what happened. And he was just like, I don't know, man. It was just a weird moment. And he was just like, dude, I already know. It's almost like when you get caught by your parents, when you're like, I already know the answer to this.
I know the answer.
I need
you
you to.
say
I need you to.
Mm-hmm.
So we find out.
He's all over there like, hey, man, bitches be crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of what he was like, though. You're not wrong.
But like in Latin.
Correct. Yes.
So
everybody
30
understands
years
each other.
earlier-
Bichimante, Lunese.
Look that up in Latin right
Yeah.
now.
30 years ago, they had a relationship that led to a birth of a child.
Correct. And she was 19 at the time, and
But he was like 35.
30. Yeah,
or
he was
something.
older.
Yeah, like it was
not good.
Yeah.
And basically, Ralph Fiennes says, like, you're out.
Yeah, and he's
Like,
like,
you
you're not going to
can't-
say anything, Art. And he's like, no, I'm not going to say anything. But they just saw that, and the last thing they need is another sex scandal.
Correct.
There's no way you're going to get the votes
Yeah,
now.
you're
I'm
right.
sorry.
This was the moment about the sex scandal where he's like, absolutely not. And it crushes this guy. Like, it seems like he had been working hard to work his way up the political ranks to be the Pope, and this transgression shows up out of nowhere.
And now it's like, well, wait a minute, this is weird. She was just transferred here a week ago.
Right.
What are the chances?
Right.
That
And
someone be
again, this is like the political stuff, where it's just like,
where you're like,
how did this person get here? So Ralph Fiennes is struggling. Basically, when the Pope dies, which this part I did not know, they like close off the room until the new Pope is elected, and I assume the new Pope takes over the dead
all their
Pope's
stuff.
room.
Yeah, I would think
I
so.
guess
Yeah,
so.
it's like the White House, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he's got his own little apartment or whatever.
So
He leaves him a little note in the drawer.
They don't embalm the Pope. Fun fact.
they don't.
No.
Oh, were they? I guess it doesn't matter.
Just let him rock. Yeah.
Gross.
I
So-
think it's a way to see if they can become saints. Like one of the things
Oh,
for canonization.
oh.
There are multiple ways to be canonized, but one of the ways is if your body does not decompose, they determine that you are a saint.
Interesting.
They also
I did
tried
not
to
know the decomposing part.
they
Definitely if you could
tried
perform a
to-
miracle.
they tried to embalm Pope Pius XII, who died in like 51.
Yeah.
It did not go well.
Ooh.
And they were using a different version that doesn't take your organs out and stuff, and it did not go well.
Gross.
And like the guards that were watching him were like throwing up.
You were like,
Oh, no.
not a saint. This guy, not a saint.
So Lawrence basically finds out through digging through some.
Well, he goes. He ends up breaking in. Not break. I mean, he does. He breaks into the Pope's
Yeah.
room, and he sits. And he's
Pope's
just
dorm room.
It's kind of what they
The
are.
dean breaks into the Pope's dorm room.
That's right. Dean Wormer breaks into, and he is just looking for
Did you
anything.
just make an Animal House reference?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't go through life. He sits down on the bed, and when he sits on the bed, this is like, you know, something out of a David Fincher movie, where like he sits down and then a piece of the bed like breaks away, and there's more evidence. Like,
Yeah.
there's more like. But this is the part that I didn't understand, because it looked like financial transactions.
Uh-huh.
But what was that for? What were
The
the
financial transactions were that Tremblay had been bribing people. That's what that simile looks up. That no one knows what it means, but then when you Wikipedia, you
Okay.
figure it out. It means that because it's based on some old Pope Simon or someone, or Cardinal Simon, whatever, the guy's name was Simon. So
Yeah.
simony means that you bribe people
Yeah.
for offices and positions.
Okay.
So
So he was
Tremblay
bribing to get information.
was bribing for votes.
Yeah.
I
Got
will
it,
like
got it,
do
got it,
stuff
got it,
you
got it,
like
got
if
it.
you vote for me as Pope.
So like
I'll,
he
you
went
know,
in there looking for one thing
and found
And
something
and
else.
found another. Like he was not, and that's why he's so conflicted. Like he's not like he's a big believer of like you lock the doors and the outside world. They're
because
sequestered like a jury.
because Watson is like, hey, we've got these bombings going on. He's
Right.
like, don't
Yep.
like, don't tell me anything.
And-
Sorry, Simony is named after Simon Magnus, also known as Simon the Sorcerer or Simon the Magician. He was a religious figure whose confrontation with Peter is recorded in the Acts of Apostles. So he wasn't a pope or cardinal or what. You know, he was just
It's only a matter of time before we get like some wild fantasy movie of Saint Peter fighting Simeon.
Simon the Magician.
Simon the Magician.
But anyway, so that because when they kept saying you committed simony or what, I'm like, what the hell is
Yeah.
that? Like,
It's
And I think it's even more confusing because I believe Peter, before he took the name
Was
Peter,
Simon?
was called Simon.
Yeah.
So like
Mhm.
unravel all
Paul
that.
and Saul and
Yeah.
yeah.
that's how Peter and Garfunkel was created.
That's exactly right. So he finally, I do like this scene where he's going to make copies of it, and Isabella Rossellini's just like, how many copies?
How many
do you
copies
need?"
do you need? 107.
And he was like,
He's
she's
like,
like, okay. Boop,
How
boop,
many
boop.
cardinals is there?
Yeah.
Right. And she looks gleeful to make these copies because she, you know, I
Like
feel like
the nuns, they know what's up.
hell
Yeah.
But
yeah.
they also know like the deal is that they just that is not their place.
Nope.
And that's
They
the
take
world
that
they've
very
lived
seriously.
in for the entirety of their lives. And so like she's like, hey, somebody's connected the dots and they're
Right.
gonna do something.
Right.
Isn't that a novel concept?
So they end up putting this paperwork at lunchtime or breakfast time in front of all of the seats, and Lithgow's like, "Oh yeah, real cool, buddy. Like this is you." He's like, I'm just giving the information that we have." And there's a big uproar, and now you've got the racist guy who's chiming in.
And then
Isabella Rossellini stands up and she was like, "Hey, I was in the room. I saw this happen."
well, yeah, because basically Tremblay is almost like accusing him that he's like planting evidence. None of this is true. And then she's like, "Yeah,
Because
you brought this nun in from Africa
Right.
a week ago on purpose to stir up stuff."
Because Lithgow is kind of saying to Ralph Fiennes, where he's just like, you think we don't know what you're trying to do, but like you're trying to garner votes, you're trying to
Yeah,
swing it
he's
your way.
accusing him of trying to get the papacy, but Ralph Fiennes, as we know, clearly wants nothing to do with it.
at all.
But and this is where I thought the movie was going, is that like or does he?
Or does
Yeah,
he?
that's what I
savvy
thought.
enough
Thou
to
doth
know
protest.
how to thread that needle,
Yeah.
Yes,
right? Like
he knows to
Man,
play.
now that would have been a twist at the end, and he becomes Pope, and
I don't
really
know.
he
The
planted all the evidence.
the twist they hit us with.
yeah.
I know,
I
but
texted Tom and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
holy."
I think, but to along the lines of the intrigue, because the twist that ends up happening isn't really. No one's asking for anything because of the twist. Like,
Oh, I see what you're
you know what I mean? Like, I just think that in the end, the reveal of that the whole time, the guy you're following, who you think is Mr. Goody Two Shoes and doesn't want it, planted all the stuff
Knew
and
it.
actually
Right.
did frame people. That would be insane. I would have been.
And knew
this
exactly
movie
what
would
he
have
was
been
doing.
elevated. It's good, but like, if that was the twist,
Yeah.
I don't know.
like-
To me, that twist is kind of, but I kind of feel like I did see it coming, and so like it was also a nice red
yeah.
herring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it, for sure. Yeah, I get it from that perspective.
So now that people have turned on Tremblay.
Tremblay's out because he's
Tremblay's
clearly lying and manipulating, and they've got the photocopies.
So you've got Tedesco, you've got the Tucci, you've got Lawrence, who is still in the running, and that's it. So you've got these. Well, we think that's it. So Tucci goes to sit down with Ralph Fiennes, and he was just like, "Man, this is you. Like you're the right choice." He's like, "They're not going to vote for me. We already know that I'm out. I'm mathematically I'm not out, but I'm not going to have." And I do like there's a scene where they're kind of sitting in like this amphitheater, and they're talking to Tucci about you need to campaign. And he was like, "I will, but I'm not going to deviate from what I think we need, where the church needs to be."
Right.
Yeah, I do.
And they're like,
that.
you can't act that way. He's like, "Then I'm not going to."
Yeah, he's
He's like, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not
Because
gonna
basically
lie.
saying like you gotta lie.
if
You
I'm
get-
running, it's going to be based on what I believe in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if they don't
and
like that, then I'm
and
not.
he has, that women should be involved in the clergy. It doesn't matter what race or religion or gender you are. You're welcome in this church, which is kind of where we are now. I don't think the women in the clergy thing is
yeah,
a
I
thing
don't think,
yet.
No.
But they
or
do
will
have
ever-
priests, female priests.
I don't
There are.
know.
There's
The Catholic Church does not.
Catholic Church does not, but
No,
there
I thought
are
that
Christian churches. That woman that just
Yeah.
lit Trump
Sure,
up in
sure,
the middle
sure.
of mass
Is she
is.
Episcopalian?
I think.
Okay,
yeah,
so it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
Catholic. Then I just heard. I thought that they were a little bit more.
It's
progressive.
it's funny.
The current Pope
Is way more
is definitely
progressive.
more progressive than most conservative.
The last one that was a
Americans
Nazi.
would like.
What?
Just saying, the last one the one
Was
that
literally
it was literally a
in
Nazi.
Hitler Youth.
yes,
Literally.
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Okay.
There's
literally.
and he's the one that hid all of the sex scandal
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like
But the
it's-
current one is Rockstar Pope. Right?
current one is rock.
Okay.
Current one is
Well, for some people.
yes.
Right.
For yes, he's Buddy Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the Dogma fans out there, which he got the rights back to, so
Yeah,
we might
yeah.
be able to
So
get that
it's this
back
year.
on. We might be able to get that back on some sort of physical media.
It's got a 4K release.
It
coming.
does?
He's confirmed
Great.
it.
That's awesome.
It's very cool.
It's that I'm glad that I never bought it because
Oh,
it was
yeah,
wildly,
$100 for Blu-ray,
wildly
yeah.
expensive. So Ray Fiennes, I feel like he's garnered enough love of the other cardinals, or respect, where he's just like, and his numbers are growing. And this is it's a scene that's a little on the nose, but they make it work, where Lawrence is going to put his name into the bin, and as he casts his vote, this bomb goes off and explodes and blocks out the windows, and there's light.
I did not see
shining
this coming.
through.
When that happened, I'm like, what just happened? I was like,
Well, you can take it as God saying no, not you. You could take it as
if there ever
God,
was a sign.
right?
That would be
Or you
pretty-
could take it as God saying you've made the right choice. I'm shining this light on you, like I've made the.
I would take it more as option number one. I'd be
I
like, okay, I
agree-
get it. Okay.
And in retrospect, it is option one,
Yeah, for sure.
right? So now we go into this.
If you almost get blown up, I don't think that I would be like, "Oh, thank you, that was the right choice."
well, I
would
think
be like,
to me it was the light.
no, I
shining
get it.
through,
I'd be like,
but,
that light is not telling me to do it.
which I think is where they end up, right? So
I like how now, like moving forward, they all have dust on their they're not
they're
wasting
cut
any
up.
time. They're not going and getting their dry cleaning done and taking a week off. Like they
Right.
now are continuing on
it is
with the rubble all
this,
over them.
We talked about like toxic masculinity in Den of Thieves, and there is a level of masculinity that is shown here where it's like we have to keep going, we can't stop, we can't. So I do like the dichotomy of
Ooh,
thank you.
look at you.
Oh.
Someone got a word a day calendar for Christmas.
I play Wordle. But like you see the difference.
that's-
It's only five
Yeah,
letters.
that's-
5 letters.
no,
Defeat-
would
I
never
just-
be on
I
Wordle.
just defeated my own awesomeness
Yeah.
with that word. But I do like seeing the differences in that, where to be a man and punch guys in the face, where these guys
Joe
are,
is like, so there's not just toxic masculinity, there's masculinity?
I got to tell you, that is something that I have been working on in therapy.
Yeah?
Is like just figuring out that balance of being a man.
I'm sorry,
and
I won't
being
make
who I
another
am.
one of those wrestling jokes. I'll keep that to myself.
Son of a bitch. I'll hit you with a chair. So I do like that, because you're right. They are busted up. They've got cuts on their face. They've got dirt on them, but they have to keep that. Yeah,
Kick-ass.
going. We're gonna keep
Man,
going.
those are real men. They don't make them like that anymore.
I mean, except for the dresses. I mean,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Who are we kidding?
The what do you? Man, I wish I could. What do they call those? I'm trying to think of like what the
Like Cossacks?
um,
Ropes?
It is robes, but there is like another word, like a term for the.
What are cardinal outfits?
Well, I just mean like
called?
priest garb.
Google AI says the ceremonial garments worn by Catholic cardinals are called vestments.
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 That's it. Yes.
These include a cassock,
A Cossack?
Mhm.
a,
Huh?
a scarlet beretta, a zucchetto, and a pectoral cross.
Vestments is what I was thinking of, because
Working on their pecs.
he's getting swole.
Yeah.
Actually, if you look at Ray Fiennes, that dude is jacked to the gills for no reason. Like he's ripped. So we go back to this like amphitheater, and this is where Tedesco goes on this awful right-wing racist rant about we have to stand up to them, where they're at our borders, they're firing, we're allowing them in, yada yada yada.
And
The two- and-
Benitez-
We have to
Well,
be tough.
Yeah, and I
fight
like
them
the
off.
Tucci is like, shut up.
Yeah.
Just like you should be ashamed of yourself.
yeah.
And then Benitez stands up and gives this
the cardinal, the secret cardinal.
the secret cardinal, and gives this impassioned speech about how we as cardinals have failed, and it is on us to kind of restore the legitimacy of this seat and to bring people back into the church, and we are servants of them, not vice versa. I think that's a line where he says, some of you are serving yourselves and not serving the people, and everybody's like, you might be onto something.
Yeah.
You might be
And
onto something.
he has not been chasing power.
He's
He's
just there.
not been
He's-
like, no one sees
he's-
that coming, and he just makes this really good point.
They
people are like, "Oh."
are just there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get to the final vote, and we know that it's down to Tedesco, Lawrence, and we think it's Tedesco and Lawrence. Like,
Right.
that's what we're thinking. The votes go off. They have a majority winner.
And it's filmed in that way that's really cool, where you see the
like-
crowd and they're cheering, and you don't know who they're looking at as
Right.
they're cheering.
Right.
You know, this movie is filmed. I mean, it's a beautiful looking film.
Yeah.
It's
I-
very
I-
interesting, again, to keep up with.
Especially
can
how
you-
much they recreate the look of the Vatican.
I don't think you can film in the Vatican, can you?
Well, you certainly couldn't film this in the Vatican.
Well, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
fair.
What's this movie about again?
Yeah, especially since we're about when we get to the
Yeah,
the
right,
twist.
right.
Like I mean, I don't think they would have really been too cool with what's gone on thus far, but they're
No.
But-
really not.
But
gonna,
I mean, honestly, can you film in the Vatican at all?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm trying to think of. I mean, I remember. Did they was
You have
What
to
was-
paint one frame per drawing and then put those all. That's all you can
what was
do.
the
is just-
what's the Tom Hanks the Da Vinci Code?
well,
was
they
that?
wouldn't have let that film there either.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
This is all about a secret mystery that's unraveling.
But I don't know that you can film in the
I
Vatican.
don't know. Have you ever seen any films?
That's what I was trying to
filmed right?
think.
I mean, I'd probably
don't-
not.
Filming is generally not permitted in the Vatican, with the exception of some special cases. Filming is prohibited in the Sistine Chapel,
Yeah.
and there are restrictions on filming in other areas. Because
I wonder if they could do like a crane shot.
Because if you can take your own picture, they can't sell you a picture in the gift shop.
Exactly.
There you go. So the movie though, it looks really great. They did a great job recreating the Vatican, but there's shots in it like when they're all walking with the umbrellas, and it's a very artistic.
I like that shot of it's ground level, and it's just like the pile of cigarette butts, and then of all the cardinals like walking into
Yeah.
the conclave. And I
Yeah,
was
there's some really interesting shots in this film. So I mean, it's not only is it intriguing, but it's interesting to look at.
Yeah.
And I think that helps keep your attention with the intrigue. But the director's Edward Berger. I don't think that we mentioned that, but he directed All Quiet on the Western Front, which was that Netflix film that got a ton of awards buzz around it. Let's see what else has he done. That was the big one from recent time. He's a working director. I don't know if there's anything else that's really.
And I just Googled real quick, and apparently no movies have ever been
Okay.
filmed inside the Vatican.
Okay, that makes sense.
He directed 3 episodes of that show Your Honor with Bryan Cranston, for what it's worth. That was a pretty good show, right? I never saw it, but I heard it got.
I just started watching 1923, which is
I
like
haven't seen that one.
it's like the Yellowstone prequel.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it's not as bad as Yellowstone.
I couldn't.
It's
I didn't take you for a
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
I'm not, but like I like Harrison Ford, and I was
Yeah.
like, I could watch some old
Is
Harrison
it Helen
Ford.
Mirren?
Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
And then the guy who is like the love interest in that Blake Lively movie,
Oh, jeez.
who I like.
Yeah.
Like I've liked him in the interviews he's done. I was like, oh, let's see what this guy can do. And I was like, if they don't cast that guy as Batman, they have missed the boat.
Are you talking about
not,
the
not
director?
No.
Oh, wait, that's
no.
what I'm trying to figure out. Because I'm like,
Not Baldoni or whatever his name is,
okay.
the other
I'm like,
guy.
He might
the
not
guy,
be working much depending on what comes out.
I got to tell you, when you want to take shots at probably the number 1 guy or number 2 guy in Hollywood right now, and his wife,
One of the richest. I mean, he's got so much money to fight whatever
You
he wants
are,
But I don't know. I'm interested to see, because I think you automatically it's Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, but it's like he's showing a lot of texts and stuff that do not make her look good. So I'm not so sure that.
I'm just saying.
I know. I'm just
if
saying,
you're gonna pick a fight,
I know. That's what I'm saying, though. It's an uphill battle. It's like,
Yeah.
who's got more money, Baldoni or
no,
Ryan Reynolds?
not
right? But-
Baldoni, the other guy who's in that movie, who's like in that movie, he's like the guy who's gonna pull Blake Lively away.
Okay, I haven't seen it. I don't know anything about it.
You'd
I
reckon,
just-
but watching this show, I was like,
Well, now I want to know. I'm gonna look it up.
if you don't cast because he's good, like he's really good in that, but he reminds me a lot of Batman.
Okay, interesting. It ends with us, right? Is the
Yeah,
movie?
yeah,
and he's a love
yeah.
interest in that. Okay,
Yeah, Brendan Skolner or something.
Okay.
So they film this scene and they do like this wraparound shot where the Tucci is clapping. So you're like, okay, it's not him.
Right.
Tedesco is not moving. So I'm like, okay, like here's.
Are you talking about Jenny Slate? She would be an interesting Batman.
Man,
She's
she's
a wonderful
great.
Batman.
Isn't she
she
great?
is the best.
She'd be a great Batmite.
She could be great. She'd be, yeah.
I'm
You
not
know
wrong.
what? You put Jenny Slate in a movie, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
there.
Brandon Sklenar is a very this is probably for the Yellowstone show. He's very like young Sam Elliott looking. He's got a big
Absolutely,
bush. They're
he
definitely
is.
trying to do
Yes.
okay.
And he has like that Sam Elliott tone to his voice.
He's got the mustache that goes over your lip.
Yeah,
You know, it's like
the
that
best
big bushy
mustache.
one.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
if you're gonna have one,
you got to do it right, you know. And then it finally pans to Lawrence, who stands up, and people are clapping around him, and then he starts clapping. So you're just like, well, who are we talking about? And then it pans again, and we realize that they have all voted. Given the speech that Benitez gave, he got the majority of the vote. And
all it takes is one good speech.
One
you hang
good
back,
speech.
man. If you get your speech locked in,
But to Tom's point, he never gave the vibe that he wanted this.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Even the speech he gives isn't like, and
I-
vote for me. He's just like, guys, what are we doing?
yeah,
That's
you
exactly
gotta walk
right.
the line. So I'm saying you sit
Yeah.
back, you let all of them fight,
Right.
and then you just get
And
a
you
little-
just start picking them off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
See, and I thought, and that's the other thing that's interesting. See, I thought that they were in doing, because I think that's the point, is that they show up like randomly, and then
Yeah.
like, oh, the Pope made me a cardinal,
it
but
does
no
feel
one has
very
the-
much a setup.
So that's what I
Yeah.
thought, that it was like a planned
I
thing,
agree.
and it wasn't. But like, there's that intrigue too. Like, wait a minute, what's really going on?
Well,
here?
then the best part is, as soon as they get out of there, Watson comes running up to Ray Fiennes. He was like, I got some. And the guy's like, okay. He goes, the illness wasn't an illness.
Oh, we didn't talk about that. The Pope
he was in a
had paid
Yeah.
for Benitez to go have a medical treatment, but it was canceled. So it's like,
Well,
that
he
was
also they talk about this illness and him being in a hospital.
yeah.
And
I thought it was going to be like he had AIDS.
that's what I thought, which is a whole different,
Yeah.
So this
story.
movie keeps you guessing, like, what is going on? And that's what's so interesting. You can kind of play along and try
Right.
to figure it out, and you don't quite know what's going on.
And Watson's like, it wasn't a
No, no,
hospital.
no.
Like it wasn't. It was a
They're
clinic.
like, it's a clinic, and then
A
I'm thinking
clinic-
like
a
drug like I'm trying to think.
Well,
what is,
I was thinking AIDS.
Yeah.
I was like a clinic in Geneva, which is in Sweden, and Sweden is we all know that they're like communication non grata. Like
Yeah.
we're not getting involved. So
oh, this is a tie-in with the snowman.
Oh my
This is,
God.
Harry Hole shows up and says, "I've solved the mystery." Could you
well,
imagine?
you know the best part is that's not how you say his name.
Oh, how do you say it?
I don't know, but it's like a Swedish name. So
but
like,
in the American one, his name's Harry Hole.
but that's not how. It's
Okay,
not,
but I'm not making that up. We didn't just
Yes,
make it like
yes,
it's-
yes.
He's Harry Hole.
if you were to look at it, that's how they pronounce it in English. But it's like
it's like areola
Yeah.
or something like that.
Well, I don't think
Areola.
I don't think
made it
areola.
worse. Areola.
But like you read the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I had to stop reading names.
Lisbeth.
Well,
Salander.
that one's easy, but like as you go further,
That's why I can't do like fantasy fiction.
it's hard.
I never know how to say the names. I skip the names,
and
and
I
then
forget who's who.
I don't know who I'm talking about anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's names that are in the book that aren't in the movie. And you're just like, well, who the hell is that guy? And that's just a bunch of consonants. There's not a single vowel in the entire name.
So it's Harry Hula.
Yeah, which is
Hula.
way better than Harry Hole.
Yeah.
But
Terrible.
But it wasn't drastically different. It's just they say instead of hole, they go hula.
Okay. I would rather.
It's like hole with an accent. You know what I mean? It's
Fine.
like
They should
hula.
have just spelled the name different.
Yeah,
They
they
should've.
should.
Spell that name
or
phonetically.
don't call him Harry.
My ancestors invented the hula hoop.
But I went on to be a detective. A shitty
Yeah,
detective at that.
I was thrown out of the family. They wouldn't let me go to any gatherings.
So the assistant's like, it was a clinic in Geneva, and we're not really sure what it was for.
Right.
And this,
But it didn't happen.
But it didn't happen. At this, when he goes, so now Ray Fiennes, who has done everything he can to not get a pope elected that had any sort of
Scandal
background
or
Yes, exactly. Now he's
like,
elected.
Damn it! What
No-
is
Yeah.
it now?
He wants no controversy of any
None.
kind.
He's about to be, and I do like the line. He's like, "You were about to be the most popular person in the most famous person in the
Yeah.
world. What happened?" And the person is like, "Well,
I think you can still say guy.
Can you?
Well, that's what he goes with.
He does?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
If he's a cardinal,
I guess that's true.
like then I gotta assume
He's living as a man.
he's living as a
Okay,
man. That's
okay.
his. Yeah.
Okay.
But he basically says the way he reveals it is that the procedure was a laparoscopic hysterectomy. And
When
if you know
he's-
anything about
When he said that, I was like,
biology,
holy...
Yeah, I had a moment of like, but that doesn't make any sense because
yeah, that is to remove your uterus, right?
Yes.
Is what a hysterectomy. So
That's exactly what it is.
So when you hear that, and then okay, so I thought the reveal was that he was trans.
That's
that was
what
my,
I
that was my
thought.
first, but they make it more scientific in the way it's like sometimes people are born with both organs.
Yes, he's intersex.
it's called intersex.
Yeah.
which is a very real condition.
Absolutely.
And like I love that it's not trans, right? It's which is also is what's so funny when people are losing their minds over this reveal, like with anger. It's like, but that's
It's
a real
it's a real
medical-
thing.
Well, not to say that trans isn't.
No,
but
okay.
we're not downplaying it.
Yeah,
that sounds
that's
a little.
fair. No, that's fair. But this is a very tangible, physically quantifiable. This should, if you're a person who doesn't like any of this, check your box
Yeah.
as an actual, quote unquote, real medical condition.
Yes.
Like if people are going to get mad about this, it's like
they're going to get
not,
mad about it no matter what.
They're not trying to force this woke.
No.
It's, like, oh, look who they elected. It's like, no, this is a real medical condition. But the other thing I don't get about it too is that I don't know, like the reveal was crazy in a way to where I'm like, what? Like I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Because it, who would
Yeah.
predict that? But then also I'm like, what's the big deal? So you have those organs, but you grew up as a male. You appear to be a male.
Well, I think
really get.
The concern on Ralph Fiennes' part is
Yeah.
like
He knows what a hotbed issue this
it's.
is.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
It could be an issue, and
And-
it's going to be an issue.
And like this guy, Benitez, didn't realize, like he didn't know until he was in his 30s.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
he's
Because
living his whole life.
because he
so,
has his external genitalia
Correct.
is male.
so that's what I
It's-
don't really get the fact
Yeah.
that it's like if you've lived your whole life and even you until you were 30, like you live as a male,
Right.
you have the male part, like all that stuff to where like, oh, so you have some extra organs. Like why is that so scandalous?
I think I took it as Ralph Fiennes is savvy enough to know that, like, yes, it doesn't, because you have these extra organs, it's not the end. It's not that big a deal. But he also knows that people outside
Won't see it.
won't
that way.
see it.
Yeah,
that
it could
way.
definitely be twisted in
Yeah.
a way or whatever. I guess it just felt to me. Yeah, I get it from that perspective. I was just like, so no,
But it's like, but the fact that some people are reacting to this reveal the way they are shows you exactly why.
yeah,
Ralph
right.
Fiennes-
Because it's like,
Yeah, it's
because to
proving,
me,
it's proving its
like,
own point.
You have.
I
an
thought it
extra-
was fascinating that when Megyn Kelly tweeted a screen about hating this movie, and then immediately starts referring to the character as a female. So uses her,
Oh,
her
interesting.
pronouns
Okay.
to refer to Benitez, the character in the film. And it shows you how intellectually dishonest these arguments are, because here is a character, right, who has external genitalia. He's got a penis.
Yes.
Right?
That we
Internally,
believe so.
he has a uterus.
An extra set of organs.
Right. That he chose not to change
Correct. Because God
made
this.
him that way.
Yeah.
And is living his life as a man,
male.
because those are the external organs he has. And what does Megyn Kelly immediately do? Misgender
Makes
the
him-
character.
makes him
right?
trans.
Here's
Like-
a person
Yes,
who made
exactly.
This person made every fucking choice you want them to
Right.
make, and you still misgender them because you're a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
It's so bad faith.
It's
Yeah.
It's as bad faith as saying who goes grocery shopping with their wife.
That,
Like, how
to
big
me-
of a dumbass do you have to be?
when I saw
What?
that.
Who said that? I have not heard
Oh,
this
you haven't
one.
seen this?
This guy, it's the guy,
that
it's
douche,
that douchebag on Fox News.
Who is the
Not-
guy?
He's like the Fox News Jack Tapper.
Oh, I know
Who
you're
is
talking
that
about.
guy that always makes? Oh, he's the one that goes. Kamala Harris eats an ice cream cone, or her husband
The
eats
one,
an ice cream.
the one who's
cone?
obsessed with straws.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
he said that Tim Waltz was weird because he drank a milkshake.
Yeah.
It's like
He always comes up with some
there was a
controversy
picture of Kamala and her husband going to the grocery store together.
Yeah.
And he's like, who goes to the grocery
You
store
need a
with their
whole
wife?
article on he goes to the grocery
And
store
it's like,
with his wife.
what are you
Like,
talking
first of all,
about?
what time period do you
Right.
live in? Like, go to the grocery store right now and look at how many men are there shopping.
Do you realize that is,
Like-
for some people, that is like the only opportunity they have to hang out
Yeah.
with their fucking
they're
partner
spending time with their
alone without their
wife.
kids? Like,
It's just crazy. We live in a world where people watch a network and don't find anything wrong with that statement. Who grocery shops with their wife, trying to make that a negative? Like,
Yeah,
what
like,
are you talking about?
God forbid a couple hangs out together.
And I will say a lot of times, well, ever since COVID, we have groceries delivered, but a lot of times I would do the grocery shopping.
Sure.
Especially because
Tom.
How dare
Oh
you.
my god.
because I
Where are
work,
your balls?
Yeah.
I worked at a grocery store for
Oh,
10
sure.
years. So, like, I'm really good at reading the tags and
Right.
knowing, like, oh, this is how much we're paying per ounce. Get this one instead of that one. Like, I'm really good at grocery shopping. And, like, I would do the grocery shopping.
But it's
I also have a uterus.
Jesse Waters.
Yeah.
It's like Voldemort. I almost don't want to say
he is.
his name.
He's like Bizarro Jack Tapper.
Yeah, he
That's how I would
asks
describe him.
why a husband would grocery shop with his wife.
Because
Because
not
they're
a
friends.
douche.
Because I
Right.
got to tell you,
He's not secretly closeted and scared that someone will out him. Jake.
Yeah.
Uh,
not Jack
Jesse
Tapper.
Jesse
Yeah.
Waters.
Jesse
But
Waters.
it's like also like, so you think that most women want a man who, I'm not going to go grocery shopping and spend any time with
Yeah.
you doing woman stuff.
hanging
like,
out together.
His idea really is that's how women think. He thinks that's a
I
good
don't
argument.
even- I don't know, who knows?
But
But
he's preaching to an audience where he wants them to be like, rah, rah. I
Right,
don't grocery
right.
I don't spend any extra time with my wife that I don't have to. Like, it's just crazy. Like, what a bizarro world that'll hold, like, that's
it
their
is wild.
stance.
It is wild that they think that is
Normal.
normal.
I don't know
I think
anyone.
that's the-
I mean, that's not the most important issue. They're saying a lot of bad stuff. And I'm not saying that's what we should, the hill we should die on.
Faux,
But
the
fact,
faux rage
the fact
about
but again, he also said like Tim
it's-
Waltz was drinking a milkshake with a straw.
but he's
Can you
got
believe it?
autism and it was a Roman salute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like-
right, yeah.
That okay? I think
Yeah.
we have bigger problems than the
Asperger's,
all I
though.
know-
Oh, sorry, Asperger's. Yeah.
All I know is that in Germany, you're not allowed to do that or
Yep.
display it. And in Germany, they won't run that photo. And when it comes to what is or isn't a Nazi salute,
You think they might know?
I will choose to believe the Germans.
Yeah, it's I do like the trend where it's like, do it. If it's not what you say it is,
I was saying
do
the
it.
same thing the other day. If you all support that and you think
Do
it's legitimate, I go say my heart goes out. Go down the street, walk down the street,
Yeah.
say my heart goes out to you. See
Yeah,
how that
and
works out.
do the salute.
Yeah.
Do whatever
Why
you did.
won't you do it? Why won't post that? But you know what? Here's the bad thing. They double
will.
down, and that will start being the new thing. Well,
Yeah.
they will own that, and now you will see it they will to not admit it.
You're
they
not
will
wrong.
Yeah.
You're
so
not wrong.
You challenge
at all.
them with that, and we will have an entire Facebook and
All of a
Twitter
sudden, we're just like, wait.
my heart goes
wait
out
a minute.
to you salutes. You know.
Well, yeah, that's going to become the new FJB.
Yeah.
You know.
What's that?
Well, I'm not going to say it.
I don't
Joe
know.
Biden.
Joe Biden.
Oh, okay.
You know, it was like, they made up that thing where it was. It was like,
Byron. Let's go, Byron.
that's
No,
what it or
yeah.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was
Brandon.
that's what
Brandon.
That's what
Let's
that
go,
meant
Brandon.
was.
Yeah,
or
where it's
whatever.
right. It's my
Anyway,
heart
but
goes out to you.
but I just
But you're
But
absolutely
when,
right.
when
This
Megyn Kelly
person-
misgendered the
Yes.
character who made every choice the conservatives want people who are intersex to make.
Yeah.
Correct.
Every one of them, it still wasn't good enough.
Yep.
like what
It
do you
never
want?
will be.
You're a garbage human
Garbage.
What?
Garbage.
Okay, that character. I know it's a character, and they wrote it this way, whatever. But okay, if this person's a real person, he, they, and whatever they want to identify as, but like, what do you want them to do?
being. Right.
What is
Yeah.
the solution? So they did something wrong by existing.
Yep.
Again, let's say it's a real person, right?
Yep.
And again, like Tom said, identify as male, has the male organs, appears.
Well, I think-
but what do you want them to do?
It's it's kind of it harkens back to that priest. Was she a priest? Pastor? Pastor.
The bishop.
Bishop.
One that Trump got mad at.
Yeah.
That one? Yeah. It's like Budde? It's like Budde. But
Okay.
she's a bishop.
A bishop
And I believe the Episcopalian Church.
who is preaching Christian
values, right?
Yeah.
and they're just like, get her out.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, She like, if there's anybody who's like an authority on Christian values, it would be this person. And she is giving a homily, and she's just saying, hey, can you be nice to people?
Yeah.
That's what she's saying. That's basically what she's saying. Don't be a dick. Just and they're just like, ah! Pitchforks and, tiki torches. And it's just
crazy.
like, God dang. Yep. But okay, back to this movie. A twist that a movie that you I never expected.
No one in the world that didn't read the book.
A twist.
No one. I'm telling you, not one person in the world could have possibly predicted that. Right?
I texted
this is the one twist that no one.
As I'm watching it,
for
I
sure.
texted Tom and I said, "What the fuck?" Yeah. And not in a bad way. Just like I never saw. Like
what?
Whoa.
You know what would have been good? What if Ralph Fiennes was dead the whole time? Could you imagine?
He's the saint.
No one actually
He's
interacted
actually
with
a
him the
saint.
whole time, and they were just like talking to themselves, talking to the other person in the room.
We are in the world of the land of remakes.
Yeah,
and
this
revisionists.
Is really
Like,
sorry, I don't want to spoil. I won't tell you what movie I was riffing on.
that sixth one.
No, I'm not going to say it.
Oh, okay.
No one knows what I'm.
Fast and Furious 6.
Fast Furious 6. That's Vin Diesel's dead the whole time.
Did you see the latest Vin Diesel photo?
Yeah, HGH is a hell of a drug.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's like, wait, how big can The Rock get?
Yeah,
I can get bigger.
The Rock. I mean, seriously, it has to be because The Rock's back in this franchise, and he doesn't want to appear because that does not look good.
No,
that is not a good look.
It's weird because his head is so I don't know if it's a Photoshop thing, but they made his head so small.
No, I don't think it's a Photoshop
compared
thing.
to the
It's
rest of his
someone
body.
trying to get so big, and it's like, dude, that's
You
not
can't walk around this. This is an incredible movie.
It's so good.
It's really good.
It's good. This and Wicked are the only movies I watched twice this year.
That's
how woke I am.
That's great.
And you could do the grocery shopping.
Yeah,
and
I
grocery
don't know
shopping. And after I got done grocery shopping, sucked a dick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Just 4.
I like the way you went from I sucked a dick to just 4.
Just for fun.
Oh, just 4
not
fun.
F-O-R. Not F-O-U-R. Don't slut shame me.
I'm not. You're right.
Okay.
No, you're-
no.
But yeah.
This is a
just
kink
cuz.
safe podcast.
Just cuz.
Yeah, I like your style. That's well done. Well done. This is an incredible movie. I'm glad that you brought it up. I never would have seen this. I never would have watched this.
Yeah.
This
There's
would have made
nothing
my
I
top.
like more than when I see a movie that I don't think I'll like.
Yeah.
That's
and
a
I
great.
end up loving.
I love it.
Like Cinderella.
100%.
Like I would have never sat down and watched the Cinderella live action
Yeah.
on my own, and it was really good. And I just love
the first Pirates.
Yeah.
Was for me. I
agreed. I was
Really?
dreading going into
oh,
because
yeah.
I'm like pirate movies.
It's like
Ugh.
dumb.
That first pirate movie, I've said it before,
It's-
I will continue to say it again, is like the perfect summer blockbuster.
Oh, for sure.
That
Absolutely
movie
it is.
is so, and
But-
I don't throw that around lightly. I mean, it is
But
a
going
perfect.
into it,
yeah, oh,
I
for
was
sure.
just like, we're
Like
doing
Orlando
pirate movies again?
Bloom and Johnny Depp. No
Lego
thanks.
movie.
100%.
Went in the Lego movie
Lego
like,
movie.
are you
Barbie.
kidding?
Yeah.
Barbie.
Barbie. Yeah.
Barbie is one of those where
I wasn't dreading Barbie because I was really just intrigued.
I know with Greta
like-
Gerwig, but
but-
when they announced they were making a Barbie movie,
Agreed. Yeah.
even
like,
without her
"Ugh,
name thrown, but
gross."
they were making a Barbie
I
movie.
was
Yeah.
like, this sounds dumb.
Dumb.
Right? And so, yeah, this
it
is a
turned out to be
movie
what it
that you don't have to have any interest or knowledge of the Catholic
No,
Church.
they tell
Like,
you everything you
the
need. to know.
story is intriguing enough that you don't have to know or care about the subject
And I
matter.
really don't even feel like it's all that much of a critique of the Catholic Church.
I
It's
don't think
really,
it is either.
It's really a glorified what if.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a political. It's all the president's men.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it is.
Although that was real.
That's true. That's a valid point. But it is. It's just a political thriller
Yeah.
Yeah.
where you're just trying to figure it out.
But it was a lot of fun.
It was
So
insanely
If you've
good.
made it this far, I hope it's because you've already seen the movie.
Yes.
And you didn't let us ruin it for you anyway because it's totally a blast.
Absolutely fantastic.
So anyway, I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at Joey Butts, BUTTS21, and on Letterboxd at the same.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin R. Brackett.
And this is Tom. You can follow me on Blue Sky and Threads at Tom O'Keefe Jr. or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. Find the show online at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. And of course, don't forget our Patreon and YouTube. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, a Morth tries to hang himself.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already